Then we'll begin. This is a duly advertised meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear petitions for relief from the strict provisions of our city ordinance. In matters of this type, the decision of the board is final in respect that it does not go to the mayor or the city council for further action. However, if you disagree with our decision, you have recourse in the court of record. We also hear petitions for variations of land use. In matters of this type, we act as an advisory committee to the mayor and city council, making a recommendation either for or against it. The final decision on land use is made by the mayor and the city council. Please call the roll.
Ms. Darley?
Here.
Mr. Ferguson?
Here.
Mr. Graham?
Here.
Ms. Nevadas?
Here.
Ms. Powers?
Here.
Mr. Riggs? Mr. Hennessy?
Thank you. Were there any changes for the agenda?
There are no requests for changes from the agenda as published, Chairman.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Then we'll do the first petition, 2014-46. Is Mr. Price here? You can just stand up here. Would please read the petition?
Petition number 2014-56. The applicant is Gene Price. He is also the owner. Location 413 South May Street. His request is for several variations to allow an addition to a detached garage resulting in a footprint larger than the principal structure. The addition measures 14 feet by 20 feet. The applicant wishes to construct additional garage space to the detached garage at the rear of his property. A variation is required to allow the garage addition, which results in a garage larger than the footprint of the main house. The purpose of the garage addition is to increase total garage space from a 2-car garage capacity to 3.5 car capacity. The lot is approximately 6,500 square feet, located in an established neighborhood known as Reedswood. The property is improved with a 1-story frame residence and a detached garage, both built in 1924. The size of the 1-story residence is 888 square feet. Access to the garage is via the rear alley. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character to the north, south, east, and west is all single-family residential, zoned R2 single-family residential. Applicable regulations are as noted. This matter was on the agenda for the Community Design Review Board meeting, which was held on October 2nd. There were no comments regarding this particular request at that meeting. Under general discussion, the proposed 14-foot by 20-foot garage addition will generally conform to the current style of the petitioner's residence. Upon completion of the garage addition, the detached garage will be 1,051 square feet, which will exceed the size of the main house. Again, that is 888 square feet. An additional variation of the minimum side yard of a detached garage from 3 feet to 0.5 feet is included in the variation request. This variation is to accommodate the existing non-conforming garage setback at the north property line. And that concludes the staff report, Chairman.
Thank you. I have to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear your statements to be true?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you state your name and address for the record?
Gene J. Price, 413 South May, Joliet, Illinois.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything to add to what Mr. Jackson just read?
No, the main reason for doing this is so I can get an extra car in the garage, and being that the garage is open and alleyway, people come down through there. I have some high-dollar motorcycles I like to kind of get out of sight, out of mind, so that's why I put that small addition on the garage.
Okay, thank you.
It's just for extra storage.
Okay, thank you. Any questions by the board? Anybody out there wishing to speak in favor of the petition? Is there anyone opposed? Okay, a motion would be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Nevadas?
Aye.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye. Thank you. Motion is approved.
Oh,
You
okay,
can go.
great. The paperwork, what I do with this that I filled out? Oh, okay, great. Thank you very much, everybody.
Petition 2014-47 is Donna Wright here? Okay. Would you read the petition, please?
Petition number 2014-47. The applicant is Donna Wright. She is also the owner. Location is 926 Plaza Drive. Her request is for several variations, including a variation of a required front yard setback from 30 feet to 24 feet to allow construction of a covered front porch addition. The applicant plans to construct a 6-foot by 18-foot addition on the front side of the home. The property includes a 900 square foot frame ranch and a detached 2-car garage, both built in 1960. The site is located on Plaza Drive, which is the southeast corner of Plaza Drive and Vernon Avenue. The site is approximately 6,900 square feet, located in an established northwest side neighborhood just east of Larkin Avenue. The property is zoned R2, single-family residential. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character, to the north is single-family residential, zoned R2, single-family residential zoning in all directions. Applicable regulations are as noted. This item was on the agenda at the Community Design Review Board meeting. However, there were no comments regarding this particular request. Under general discussion, the proposed 6-foot by 18-foot front covered porch addition will generally conform to the current style of the petitioner's residence. The addition will be located 24 feet from the front property line, which is at the 30-foot setback, front yard setback is required. A variation of the minimum side yard setback for a 1-story residence from 6 foot to 4.8 feet is also requested to reflect the existing non-conforming setback at the south side of the house. And that concludes the staff report, Chairman.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear your statements to be true?
Yes,
Please state your name and address for the record.
Donna Wright, 926 Plaza, Joliet.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add to what Mr. Jackson just read?
No, I just hope to get it covered.
Okay, thank you. Any questions by the board? No. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone opposed? Okay, I'll close the petition and ask for discussion and a vote, please.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Nevadis?
Aye.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Petition 2014-48 is Ms. Ortiz here?
Petition number 2014-48. The applicant is Maria de Lourdes Ortiz. She is also the owner. Location 608 Ohio Street. Her request is for a series of variations, including a variation of maximum lot coverage from 30% to 52% to allow construction of a detached 2-car garage. The applicant plans to construct a 22-foot by 22-foot detached garage facing Ohio Street in the side yard of the home. The property includes a 1,776 square foot frame, 2-unit residence built in 1904. The site is approximately 3,400 square feet, rectangular in shape, existing in an established northeast side neighborhood known as the Collins Street neighborhood area. The property is zoned R3, which is 1 and 2 family residential. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character. The land use and zoning to the north and east is 1 and 2 family residential, zoned R3, and that is our 1 and 2 family residential zoning. And land use and zoning to the south and west is single family land use, zoned R2, single family residential zoning. Applicable regulations are as noted. This item was also on the Community Design Review Board agenda. However, there were no comments regarding this particular request. Under general discussion, the proposed 22-foot by 22-foot detached garage will generally conform to the current style of the petitioner's two-unit residence. The garage will be located 20 feet from the front property line on Ohio Street. The garage will meet the minimum 3-foot side and rear yard setbacks required for a detached garage. A variation of the minimum setback for a detached garage from 60 feet to 20 feet, and a variation of maximum lot coverage from 30% to 52% comprise this variation request. The site is located in a 100-year floodplain, therefore the construction of the garage must meet flood-resistant standards. And that concludes the staff report, Chairman.
Thank you. Can I swear you in, please? Raise your right hand. Do you swear your statements to be true?
I do.
Just state your name and address for the record,
Maria
please.
de Lourdes Ortiz.
Will you speak into the microphone so they can...
Maria de Lourdes Ortiz, 608 Ohio Street in Joliet.
Oh. Okay, do you have anything to add?
I do. From the.
You know what, I don't know about the rest of the board. I can't hear, because of that, I think.
It's from 20 feet. I did notice it's 28 and a half.
28
From
and
the
a half.
yes.
Okay,
From property line.
all right, thank you. That's all. Any questions by the board? Anybody out there wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone opposed? Close the petition and ask for discussion and a vote, please.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Please call the roll.
Ms. Nevadas.
Aye.
Ms. Darling.
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson.
Aye.
Mr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Powers.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Petition 2014-49. Is there somebody here from Flexible Staffing?
Petition 2014-49, the applicant is Flexible Staffing, represented by Gerald Modlinski. The owner is AEB Real Estate Incorporated, location 2709 West Jefferson Street. Their request is for a special use permit to allow a temporary staffing agency within an existing multi-tenant building. The petitioner is requesting a special use permit to allow a temporary staffing agency in an existing commercial strip center located at 2709 West Jefferson Street. The 2.2-acre site is located at the northeast corner of West Jefferson Street and Fairlane Drive. The petition was filed in September of this year. Under site-specific information, the property includes a 40,000 square foot multi-tenant brick structure built on a slab in the mid-1960s. Adequate off-street parking for 40-plus vehicles to serve the temporary staffing agency is provided on site. The temporary staffing agency is located near the east end of the multi-tenant building. The site is zoned B3 General Business Zoning. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the land use and zoning adjacent to the site is single-family residential, zoned R2 to the north, and commercial zone B3 General Business Zoning to the south, east, and west. Applicable regulations are as noted. There were no comments at the Community Design Review Board meeting regarding this request. Under general discussion, Flexible Staffing Solutions, owned and operated by Gerald and Noreen Modlinski, is a business that provides temporary employment services to local industry. The business floor plan was attached to your packets. The space includes a 24-foot by 24-foot front waiting and application room, several side offices, washroom facilities, and a rear storage room. If the zoning board desires to recommend approval of the special use permit, the following conditions will be included. The 180 days condition requiring a certificate of occupancy and building permit being issued within 180 days of the effective date of approval. Also, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of the special use permit. And finally, that the business conforms to all applicable building code and business license requirements now and into the future. And that concludes the staff report,
Thank you.
Chairman.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear your statements to be true?
Yes.
Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Gerald Modlinski, 870 Oak Street, Lake in the Hills, Illinois, 60156.
Do you have any comments to add?
No, I've been in front of other municipalities with certain zoning restrictions, and I think there's a black eye in the industry that created this legislation. Those are the ones that are open up at 5 in the morning, where I call daily work. We are not. We're strictly an 8 to 5 business. We don't have a large crowd gathering at 5 in the morning. We will have applicants coming and apply where they're doing testing on our software, and after that, we could call them at their house to go to work from there. They don't come back for any paychecks either, since we do direct deposit as well.
And it's just Monday through Friday?
Yes.
Any questions by the board?
Yes.
Oh.
How many employees will be at the site?
There'll be 3 to 4 full-time
Okay. And you have been in business for how long?
since 1991.
Where are your other locations?
Chicago metropolitan area, not in the city of Chicago. Let's see, Oak Lawn. Currently, we're in Shorewood. We're looking to relocate to here. We're in Melrose Park, Illinois. Why am I forgetting one? Bourbonnais, Illinois, and I'm also in some other states.
Okay. And you would provide work for local businesses in the Joliet area?
Yes.
And what type of business?
We do light industrial manufacturing as well as clerical and admin.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Anybody out there wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is anyone opposed? Okay, I'll close the petition and ask for discussion and a vote, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Nevades?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye. And I'm correct in saying that this goes to city council, is that?
Yes, this will go to city council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Petition 2014-50 and 51. They're together on our form, so they come together.
Petition number 2014-50 and 2014-51. The applicant is Natural Leaf Shop LLC. Owner of the property is Marilyn Hagan. Location 347 Airport Drive. Their request is for a special use permit and variation. The petitioner is requesting approval of a special use permit and a variation of required spacing from the residential zone property, from residential zone property from 1,000 feet to 850 feet to allow a medical marijuana dispensary. The 1.8 acre site is a multi-tenant industrial condominium unit within the Airport Drive industrial condominiums. The tenant space in question is an end unit that includes 4,396 square feet of office and warehouse space. The space is also equipped with an overhead garage door for secured interior product delivery. Adequate off-street parking is available within a large parking lot. The property is zoned I-1 light industrial. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character: to the north is industrial, zoned I-1. To the south is undeveloped, zoned I-1. To the east is the Joliet Municipal Airport, Zone B3, that's general business zoning. To the west is the Joliet Hospice, zoned RB, and that is restricted business zoning. Applicable regulations are as noted. There were no comments regarding this particular request at the Community Design Review Board meeting. Under general discussion, Natural Leaf Shop LLC is applying for a license with the state of Illinois as a medical cannabis dispensary organization under its compassionate use of medical cannabis pilot program. Mr. Harish Bhatt, who is an applicant member, is a pharmacist licensed by the Department of Financial and Professional Regulation and an owner of 5 Bassinger pharmacies in the greater Joliet area. The future staff will undergo careful screening and training, and the business and its security operation will conform to all state, local, state and local regulatory requirements. Although the subject site is 850 feet from existing R4 multifamily residential zoning within the city, that site is currently vacant, open space, and will not be developed with a residential use. It should be noted that because of its proximity, the applicant contacted the Joliet Hospice prior to securing the site and filing its zoning applications, and it is staff's understanding they are not opposed to this particular proposal. Conditions to be included would be that off-street parking remains in the future. We have also added our 180-day requirement that building permit and certificate of occupancy be obtained no later. We've modified this to 365 days due to the state licensing timeline. So a building permit or certificate of occupancy is obtained not later than 365 days of approval of this particular request. And finally, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of the special use permit. And that concludes the staff report, Chairman.
Thank you. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear your statements to be true?
I do.
State your name and address for the record,
Chair
please.
Powers, members of the board, I'm George Mahoney. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Mahoney, Silverman and Cross in Joliet, and I represent the Natural Leaf Shop, LLC, and the manager of that shop, Harish Bhatt, who's with me and here today to answer questions if you have any. But Chair Powers, if I could hand out some information, basically photographs to give you an idea of the location, its proximity to surrounding uses, and maybe give you a better idea of the building itself.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Chair Powers, is the Mr. Jackson reported before Mr. Bhatt filed this application on behalf of Natural Leaf LLC. The first thing we did was contact Joliet Area Community Hospice because of its proximity. And so you're aware, I talked to one of the members of its board of directors to ask the other board members about this and what their take was on this application. And it was reported back to me that they had no issues with the application. So I wanted that to be of record, that you knew I did that, and who I contacted was a member of their board. This really kind of brings a hometown flavor to the medical cannabis dispensary organization, because the manager of this entity is Harish Bhatt, who came to Joliet in 1975, worked at the Joliet Medical Clinic on Collins Street as a lab tech, and then 10 years later purchased Basinger Pharmacy on Jefferson Street in Joliet. And since that time, he's acquired and built 4 additional Basingers, South Chicago Street, 300 Ottawa Street, and on Madison Street in Joliet, as well as on Essington. His wife is also a pharmacist, Renuka, and she is a dermatologist with offices in Joliet, Fine Skin, and they have 4 facilities, one in Joliet and several others in Will County. And between them, they employ about 100 people in Will County, both from Basinger as well as Fine Skin. And so the issue before you is really twofold. One is our request for a special use permit under the City of Joliet ordinance, because it's zoned I-1 and it would be a special use. But also that other component of variation, because under the city's ordinance, you have to be 1,000 feet from a residentially zoned district. And as Mr. Jackson reported today, we're not 1,000 feet, but effectively 850 feet. And the other thing that I think that Mr. Jackson's report was very telling is that property will never be developed for residential use. And so as I see that, that's one of the exceptional hardships that would be imposed if the variance was not granted. And one of the findings that you obviously will make as a part of your determination for the variance. This is a very regulated industry, highly regulated by the state, and the volume of material that's filed with the state of Illinois was just voluminous. And so the issues that the state will control not only is how the dispensary procedure and organization takes place, but also its security. And we anticipate that if granted a license, and we don't know if we're going to be granted a license since only 2 in Will County will receive licensure, that the proposed hours would be something like 9 in the morning till 7 in the evening and employ about 10 people. So that's what we would anticipate, and we think the location at this location on Airport Road between the airport and an industrial area is a good location for the city. It's a good location for people who the state of Illinois has determined should receive the benefits of medical marijuana to treat their pain symptoms. It would be a convenient location, and so we're asking you if you would consider to approve the special use permit and make a recommendation to the city council to grant the variance required for its location at 347 Airport Road in Joliet.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Mahoney?
We do.
Okay.
What kind of lighting is outside in the parking area?
Well, there's-
And on that street in particular? My concern is that this is a remote area, and people will be coming there for something that is probably coveted by many, and they will leave. Your security would cover them while they're in your property, but after they leave, I do have a concern about
Security
safety.
outside.
Yes.
And I think it's a very good question because there's street lights and also building lights, but that's one of the things, if licensure is granted, that is a part of our security program we would look at to make sure that not only the inside is secure, but also the outside is well illuminated at night so that the people who are coming would have safe and secure access to their car.
Okay.
I know.
Yes. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else? Questions? I do have a question about the open space that is zoned residential, and you say it will never be developed. Now, I mean, is there a way we know that? Is it because of this going in there, or why are we saying that it will never be developed? I guess I'm asking you, Mr. Jackson, because I'm not.
Oh, okay.
If you could look at the map, if you would see this just small green piece coming off here at Rock Run Drive and McDonough Street, we had an old subdivision proposal that came in and was a strange annexation, and it annexed this portion and zoned it multifamily for a trail, but it will not be developed as any type of residential housing. It was only given that zoning because it was part of a bigger multifamily development, and that is just a trail, and that's where that conflict comes in,
I see.
just that zoning there at the corner.
Okay. I see. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. No other question? Is there anybody out there wishing to speak in favor of this proposal? Is there anyone opposed? Okay, we'll close it and ask for a vote. Now, these are two different things, but we have one vote. Is that how that works, Mr. Jackson?
Yes, there should be one vote. You couldn't really do the special use permit without
Without the
that spacing
variation.
variation, yeah.
Okay. So a motion would be in order.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Ferguson,
Aye.
Mr. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. Nevadas,
Aye.
Ms. Darley,
Aye.
Ms. Powers.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, petition, where am I here? 2014-52 and 53. MedMen of Illinois. Anybody here representing that? Thank you.
Petition number 2014-52 and 2014-53. The applicant is MedMen of Illinois, LLC. Owner is Vermont Builders. Location, 351 Airport Drive. Their request is for a special use permit and variation. The petitioner is requesting approval of a special use permit and a variation of required spacing from residential zone property from 1,000 feet to 850 feet to allow a medical marijuana dispensary. The 1.8 acre site is a multi-tenant industrial condominium unit within the Airport Drive industrial condominiums. The tenant space in question is a middle unit that includes 3,461 square feet of office and warehouse space. The space is also equipped with an overhead garage door for secured interior product delivery. Adequate off-street parking is available within a large parking lot. The property is zoned I-1 light industrial. Surrounding zoning land use and character. To the north is industrial I-1. To the south is undeveloped I-1. To the east is the Joliet Municipal Airport, Zone B3, and that is general business zoning. To the west is the Joliet Hospice, zoned RB, restricted business zoning. There were no comments regarding this particular request at the Community Design Review Board meeting. Under general discussion, the petitioner, the MedMen of Illinois LLC, is seeking to open and operate a medical marijuana dispensary using best practices developed by a team of successful members in many relevant areas. Patients will be able to rely on the facility and its staff to obtain high-quality medication tailored to their particular conditions. The team at the MedMen of Illinois facility is made up of experts in many fields, including medical cannabis startup and operations, nuclear pharmacy, law, military intelligence and security, hospice and home health, nursing, community services, and university teaching and research. Dr. Duke Fu, Adam Bierman, and Andrew Modlin are principals in the MedMen Management Group, which has performed design, startup, and operation of over 1 million square feet of medical marijuana cultivation centers and over 100 dispensary locations. Detailed plans were attached to the packets, including staffing, business operating, service, and security plans. Staffing is projected to include 6 employees working at all times during the proposed hours of operation, and those hours are 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. The future staff will undergo careful screening and training, and the business and its security operation will strictly conform to all state and local regulatory requirements. Although the subject site is 850 feet from existing R4 multi-family residential zoning within the city, that site is vacant, open space, and will not be developed with a residential use. It should be noted that because of its proximity, the applicant contacted the Joliet Hospice prior to securing the site and filing its zoning applications, and it is staff's understanding that they are not opposed to this particular proposal. The following conditions have been included, that off-street parking remain in the future. We have also included a 365-day requirement that building permits and certificates of occupancy be obtained no later than 365 days of the effective date of approval of this request. And finally, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of the special use permit. And that concludes the staff report, Chairman.
Thank you. Raise your right hand. Do you swear your statements to be true?
I do.
Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Tom Osterberger. I'm an attorney for the applicant, 111 North Ottawa, Joliet, Illinois. I'm going to reiterate I won't reiterate what Mr. Mahoney said. I think the location from a zoning and planning standpoint is perfect for this use. Mr. Jackson talked about the applicant. Adam Bierman, Andrew Medlin, and Duke Fu are 3 principals in MedMen of California. And I don't know that I heard, Mr. Jackson talked about the cultivation, the operation of over 100 dispensaries in the West Coast. So the core group, this applicant really knows what they're doing. And they brought together other people to bring this application to the state of Illinois. I wanted to highlight two things in addition to that. My client has indicated they have been to the property at night. The exterior lighting is very good. I don't know whether Airport Road, I assume it has normal street lighting, and the airport is there. I've been out there at night, it's pretty well lit up. In addition to that, as far as security goes, always a concern with these facilities. The deliveries that are going to be made to this particular unit, if they receive a license from the state of Illinois, are going to be made interior to the building. So a truck will pull in, a van will pull in, door will close into a secured area, then unloaded, then leave. They will have 2 full-time security officers on at all times, 24/7, not just when they're in operation. They have TV cameras which are tied to the state. My client has not contacted the chief of police on this application yet. We wanted to see if we got approved so that he wasn't asked to look at something prior to us getting approval. We're going to talk about the possibility of off-duty policemen if that's appropriate. But the state of Illinois will have access to those cameras at all times, the streaming, and Joliet will be given access if they'd like that. So in terms of security and lighting, I don't think it gets much better. We could go through the internal security, but you can't get into the actual interior of the facility other than through the front door. You can't get beyond that without the card that will be issued by the state of Illinois. There are chambers, so you can only go in one before you move on to the other. Same way with the delivery area in the back. One of the owners of our applicant that is security is his area of expertise. So it's really important. The amendment of California have stressed that, Joliet doesn't want to have to talk.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions? I have some people here to answer questions.
Any questions by the board? No?
Thank you.
All right. Anybody out there wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone opposed? Okay, we'll close the discussion, we'll close the petition, ask for discussion and a vote, please. Motion is in order.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Nevadas?
Aye.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye. Thank you. Petition 2014-54, is Mr. Mohammed here? No? Oh, there, is that him? Oh. Does staff want to represent Mr. Mohammed?
Let's see, what is this one?
This is 1805 West Jefferson. We can wait till the end if you, all right, let's wait to the end if that's okay with everybody. 2014-55, is Jeff Smith here?
Petition number 2014-55. The applicant is IDI Gaisley, represented by Jeff Smith. Owner is IDI Gaisley. Location 4101 Olympic Boulevard. Their request is for a variation. The petitioner is requesting a variation to allow additional trailer parking that exceeds the allowed accessory parking spaces along and adjacent to the 2 longest sides of the structure. The 17.2 acre subject site comprises 2 lots within the Rock Run Business Park subdivision. The 339,740 square foot building was constructed on lot 100 in 2008. The existing zoning is I-1 light industrial. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character. To the north is institutional, R1, and that is our larger lot, single-family residential zoning. To the south is industrial, I-2, which is our general industrial zoning district. To the east is industrial I-1 and I-2, and to the west is undeveloped, also zoned I-1 and I-2. Applicable regulations are as noted. There were no comments regarding this particular request at our Community Design Review Board meeting. Under general discussion, the approval of the requested variation on trailer parking will allow the building and site to be competitive in attracting and retaining industrial users. The additional trailer parking area will allow the site to add 53 additional spaces. Its proposed location is at the southwest portion of the site, which is well screened by the existing building and landscaping. This particular building is at a disadvantage due to the east side of the site being devoted to employee parking. And that concludes the staff report, Chairman.
Thank you. Would you raise your hand, please? Do you swear your statements to be true? Yes. State your name and address for the record, please. Thank you. Do you have anything to add? You covered it, huh? Staff does good. Hey, does anybody have any questions? No? Anybody out there wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone opposed? All right, close it and ask for discussion and a vote, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Nevadas.
Aye.
Ms. Darling.
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson.
Aye.
Mr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Powers.
Aye. Thank you. Petition 2014-56, Dominic and Andrea Kapp. Step up here, please.
Petition number 2014-56. The applicant is Dominic and Andrea Kapp. They are also the owners. Location 1443 Colorado Avenue. Their request is a variation. The petitioners are requesting a variation on the required setback for a detached garage from 60 feet to 25.99 feet in order to add a second detached garage. The 10,000 plus square foot double lot currently contains an existing single-family home with an existing 22 foot by 22 foot detached garage. That garage will remain if this is approved. The petitioners were approved for a variation on maximum number of garages allowed in order to add a second detached garage in their rear yard off of the alley at the September zoning board meeting. After approval of the variance, the petitioners determined that it would be too close to an existing deck. The property is zoned R2 single-family residential. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character is as noted. Applicable regulations are as noted. There were no comments regarding this particular request at the Community Design Review Board meeting. Under general discussion, the approval of the requested variation will allow the petitioners to construct a new 24-foot by 24-foot detached garage along the front building line of their existing home, which is 25.93 feet. And I think that's the setback. The second detached garage is needed for the storage of a large pickup truck and motorcycle that the petitioners own. The new garage will be constructed with material to match the existing siding currently utilized on the home. Access to the proposed garage will be from a new paved driveway directly off of Colorado Avenue. The existing and proposed garages cannot be converted into a separate dwelling space or commercial office space now or in the future. It is not the desire of the petitioners to utilize the garages for a separate use, and they fully understand that this is not allowed as per the city zoning code. Under conditions, the detached garage must be constructed with similar siding, asphalt shingles, and colors to match the material on the home, and the garages cannot be utilized for a separate dwelling space or commercial office space. That is in violation of the city's zoning ordinance, and that concludes the report, Chairman.
Thank you. Raise your hand, please. Do you swear your statement to be true?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the board.
My name's Don.
Okay, I was wondering.
1443 Colorado Avenue.
Do you have anything to add to what Mr. Jackson just read?
Just that I believe this is the best use of our property, and it gives us full access to the front of the house. Now, if this is approved.
The way I'm looking at this picture, the garage then will line up with the front of your house, so there'll be
Equal with the front of the house,
Okay.
and a driveway to the front of
the garage.
lower.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Mr. Cap? No? Is there anybody out there wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone opposed? I'll close the petition and ask for discussion and a vote, please. A motion would be in order.
Chair, if I could just make a clarification before the motion. I think the staff report stated that the proposed garage is 24 foot by 24 foot. It's actually 24 foot by 26 foot, as depicted on the
On the,
diagram, yes.
okay, thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Nevadas?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye, thank you. I think we'll go to old business first, maybe give them a few more minutes to come. Oh, they're here. I'm sorry. Okay, let's hear petition 2014-54. Mr. Mohammed?
Petition number 2014-54. The applicant is Mohammed Al-Sidi Mohammed. The owner is JWH Joliet LLC, Kmart Stores of Illinois. Location 1805 West Jefferson Street. Their request is for a variation. The petitioner is requesting a variation to allow two main buildings on one lot in order to construct a Checkers restaurant within a separate building. The 27,000 square foot site is Zone B3, which is general business zoning, and currently contains a mobile gas station. A special use permit to allow a car wash was approved by the City Council at their meeting in November 2008. That car wash, however, was never built. A variation to allow a 3-foot by 6-foot electronic message center for a proposed monument sign was approved in May 2009 by the Zoning Board. Variations on signage were approved by the Zoning Board in June of this year in order to add the Checkers restaurant and a Circle K convenience store. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character is as noted. Applicable regulations are as noted. There were no comments regarding this request at the Community Design Review Board meeting. Under general discussion, the requested variation to allow more than one building on a single lot would allow the petitioner to construct a standalone Checkers restaurant. The initial plan was to construct the restaurant as part of an addition to the west side of the existing building, but due to an issue with the existing utility locations, that was not possible. This alternative plan would still allow the drive-through, walk-up window, and outside dining area, as was proposed with the original plan. The new building will meet all other zoning code requirements. The previously approved signage will remain the same. And that concludes the staff report. Chairman.
Thank you. Are you both going to speak?
Yes.
Okay, I'll swear both of you in. Do you swear your statements to be true? Okay. Do you both state your name and address for the record?
Jeff Middlebrook, 12 Redwood Road in my parents' Illinois. I'm the director of development,
Thank you.
My name is Mohammed, Sidi Mohammed, 7304 Yorkshire Street in Joliet.
Thank you.
Franchise Yorkshire.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have anything to add to what Mr. Jackson just read?
We just want to add that we came to this because we were not able to get the rent back. We find that they have no staff. And because of the utility issue,
A different spot on the property. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Is there anybody out there wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone opposed? Okay, we'll close it and ask for discussion and a vote, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ferguson.
Aye.
Mr. Graham.
Aye.
Ms. Nevadas.
Aye.
Ms. Darling.
Aye.
Ms. Powers.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, under old business, 2014-41, North Community Bank. Okay. Okay, Mr. Jackson?
Petition number 2014-41. The applicant is North Community Bank. They are also the owners. Location 713 through 715 Collins Street. Their request is for several variations, including a variation to allow two main buildings on one lot. The petitioner is requesting several variations, including a variation to allow two main buildings on one lot and a variation of a major street setback from 80 feet from the roadway center line to 33 feet, and that's for the front structure, and from 80 feet to 63 feet for the rear structure. A variation of required off-street parking from 3 spaces to 2 spaces is also required. The property is located at 713 through 715 Collins Street, the west side of Collins Street, south of Ward Street. The site is part of the Collins Street Commercial Corridor, located on the northeast side of town. The property consists of two one-story frame structures, each built in 1900. The lot size is approximately 4,000 square feet. The site is zoned B3 General Business. The property is bank-owned. The former barber shop located in the front structure at 715 Collins is vacant, and the house at 713 Collins is a 2-unit residence. The owner wishes to sell both structures, therefore a variation is required. The petition was tabled at the September 2014 board meeting because the Neighborhood Services Rental Inspection team revealed a unit in the basement at 713 Collins. Neighborhood Services found that the basement unit had only one outside exit, marginal ceiling height, and other deficiencies. Therefore, the Neighborhood Services list of violations recommends full removal of the basement unit. A follow-up inspection was scheduled for yesterday, and there is a addendum to the staff report that I will read now. Neighborhood Services conducted their inspection October 15th. Staff reported that all violations at the site have been corrected, including the removal of the basement unit at 713 Collins Street. Back to the regular staff report. Representatives of the bank-owned property are currently reviewing steps needed to remove the illegal basement kitchen. That was all done. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character is as noted. Applicable regulations are as noted. At the Community Design Review Board meeting, our public utilities reported that both buildings share a B box for water service to the site. As long as the two main structures remain under one ownership, the single service would be allowed to continue. Under general discussion, the front structure at 715 Collins consists of a one-room open retail office area with washroom and secondary exit located at the rear. The residence at 713 Collins is located to the south of the commercial structure. All off-street parking for two vehicles is located at the rear of the commercial structure. On-street parking for two vehicles is located on Collins Street. And that concludes the staff report, Chair.
Thank you. You raise your hand, please. Do you swear your statement to be true?
Yes.
State your name and address for the board, please. Thank you. Do you have anything to add to what Mr. Jackson just read? I don't. Okay. Thank you. Does the board have any questions? Ms. Darling?
Is this property currently vacant?
715 is currently vacant. 713 is being occupied by now.
How long has it been bank-owned?
I honestly don't have the answer for you. I can check into that.
How long has this been zoned business? Do we know?
Probably for as long as we've had had zoning in
Okay,
Joliet.
so it's been under an illegal use for many years? Is that fair to say?
Well, I'm not sure that that's fair to say, as is the case in an older town like Joliet. You know, there were commercial uses with residential. Perhaps the, original owner of the small shop in front lived in the rear structure. So that's not an unusual occurrence.
Okay. The parking from the picture, it looked like the parking was not on this area. Am I seeing that right? But there's like a white and a yellow vehicle back there that seem to be parked for that house, and it's not within the property?
Oh, I see what you're looking at, yeah.
So is there actual parking on this plot?
Yeah, if we could go back to the diagram here.
That's next door. This would be the rear, but it looks like from the other picture that the property line ended at, pretty much at the building.
Yes. Jim, could you go back to the aerial? The other picture. Yeah.
So there is no parking.
It's just adjacent. It's another parking lot, but it's just,
Yeah.
they're allowed to use it, is that?
Well, there would have to be an agreement from whoever the owner is of that adjacent property to allow that to be used for parking for this particular property.
On both sides, it looks like.
Yes.
So there is no parking on this property.
Unless vehicles could be parked in that open area. Back to the other picture, Jim. In that open area that would be below structure 1 and to the left of structure 2. I don't know what's in there now, but that looks like it could provide parking for 2 vehicles, unless there's some other obstacle there.
But this has been this way since 1900, is that's a fair assessment?
Yes, yes.
So before we had zoning laws here in Joliet, this just kind of popped up and
Correct.
we've been,
Yeah, they would need some form of an agreement if they're using the other, someone else's property for parking.
well, that could be made a condition of this.
Correct.
Do you have any more questions, Ms. Darling?
Oh, I see. So it looks like from this picture, I'm sorry, Chair. I don't know if that's a gate or not in front of the van there, but it appears that there's some gravel in there, and it looks like maybe there were vehicles using that in the past. I don't know if
Now
that's
there's a trampoline, it looks
There's a
like.
trampoline there.
So that might be parking.
It could be. They need to use it that way.
Okay. Okay.
And everything surrounding this is zoned business, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
No more questions?
Anybody else have any questions? Favor, opposed? Are you speaking in favor of this petition? Okay, are you opposed? No. Okay, all right. Anybody else out there?
Well, we need to make that.
Well,
Those
when we make the,
conditions,
when we
yeah.
make the motion, we can make that a condition. Okay, I'll close the discussion, close the petition, ask for discussion and a vote.
I would like to say something. I do have an issue with it being a residential if the person that's living there is not also the owner of the commercial use. If it is a owner-occupied, business and residential situation, I don't have an issue with that, but I do not agree with it being a rental and then another tenant renting the commercial space as well. all I would like to say.
Thank you. All right. A motion would be in order.
I would motion for approval with the condition that property, that additional parking spaces be designated specifically for parking. Unless there's an agreement reached with whoever's allowing them to park there now. But it would have to be something that's a written agreement.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Nevatis?
Aye.
Ms. Darley?
No?
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Motions of the minutes of the last meeting, if they're acceptable, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve, signify by saying aye.
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 Happy Halloween, everybody.